So today's build is such a fantastic opportunity. God has blessed Gear Seekers, our good friends, with the opportunity to collaborate with Montech to create their very own case. Now this is exciting, guys, because a lot of people out there don't get the opportunity to do things like this, so I can't wait to build in it and check it out. And we're going to be doing an all AMD build today, so let's get stuck into it. So just going through the parts real quick, I've got the QX120 RGB fans because we are also going to be using the Vengeance RGB DDR5 memory. So that means that I can control the lighting through one software, and plus these fans have only got one cable coming out of them. You could daisy chain them together so I could get the RGB and the power and just keep the whole cable management nice and tidy. Now the RAM, we do have 64 gigs running at 6,000 megahertz as well. And for our NVMe, we're just going with a simple 1 terabyte drive. Our aim here is just to get the PC working, just a little bit of storage there. A few of your favorite games and programs can go on that. I don't have any of the latest Ryzen processors. However, I do have a Ryzen 7 7800X3D. This is such a good gaming processor. So that's what we're going to be using today. We're going all out AMD gaming PC. Montech has also graciously provided us with the Hyperflow ARGB 360. This is compatible with AMD as well, which is why this will go nice with the CPU. We will be removing the fans and putting the Corsair fans just so everything matches. There's no real reason why we're removing them. They are great performing fans if you guys did want to keep them. Now for the power supply, it doesn't really matter which one I use. I just chose one that was ATX 3.0 compatible. It has enough juice for our system as well. And plus 1000 watts should be enough for future expansion if we decide to upgrade our graphics card in the future. I also wasn't too fussed on the motherboard. I did go with the X670E Creator Wi-Fi. It's got lots of features on there that I like to use with my editing and stuff. It's got plenty of USB. It's also got lots of expansion slots for our NVMe drives if I want to add more in there, just in case this turns into an editing machine as well, where I need a lot of storage. And our graphics card, of course, is the Power Color Radeon RX 7900 XT. I don't have the XTX version, but we've got the next best thing. So we still have access to ray tracing, 20 gigs of VRAM as well, which will also come in handy with multi-monitor setups if we choose to use this PC in that. But I've also got some custom backplates that I can use with it. So I'll probably chuck that in the build as well. We've been editing video for 10 years now, and I wanted to show you Wondershare Filmora, which is what we actually use to edit this very video. AI is growing in our society, and with the introduction of features such as AI text-based editing, AI music generator, AI text to video, and AI thumbnail generator, it has allowed us to level up our content. Filmora has lots of video editing features. This includes compound clips, screen recorder, speed ramping, keyframing, AI smart masking, and much more. Audio editing also allows for audio beat sync, audio visualizer, and AI audio denoise. Text editing allows for AI copywriting, text to speech, and speech to text. And of course, you can use video assets such as effects, templates, and Boris FX. Let me show you some of the AI features available. This is AI voice clone. So when I enter text, I can select it and do text to speech. Filmora will prompt you to read a script so it can generate your voice. Here's how it made me sound.
This PC cost me $100 on Facebook Marketplace.
It will not always be perfect 100% of the time, so you just try again until you get it right. I think my voice is spot on, but I think it gave me a bit of a New Zealand accent, so I can try it again. The AI sticker generator is actually one of my favorites. I can type in PC build with white case and blue lighting, and look what pops up. These are some really cool stickers. Wondershare Filmora is such a good program with lots of new features being added constantly. You can get Filmora on Windows, Mac, iOS, and Android, and you can try it for free. I'll leave a link down in the video description. Here we have it, guys, the King 95 Gear Seekers Edition. What an absolute piece of a case it is. I will say that there's a couple of things that I think I would change, but overall, this is such a nice case. I mean, it comes with 6 pre-installed RGB fans, so there might not actually be a need for our other fans unless I want everything to match, because the fans of the cooler, they've actually got the white blades that pick up the RGB, and these ones are just black with the RGB rings on them. Now, my personal preference is I don't like cases with really dark tinted glass, and that's kind of the reason why you'll see a lot of my builds left open as well, not just for fresh air, but also so I can see the inside, because for me, the looks of the PC is just as important as its performance. So with the dark glass on there, I actually find it harder to look inside and appreciate what I've built. So if there could be a lighter glass option or something that people can purchase on the side, I'd 100% go for that. This case has ventilation throughout the whole case, and I love what they've done here. So they've put this little mesh part here, it actually rises this part up so that the radiator in that has a bit more breathing room, and it brings it up further so that you've actually got more clearance up the top before you hit the motherboard or even the RAM. That means you could actually fit bigger radiators, and because of the thickness of the case, the radiators can be brought this way even more so that you're actually missing the clearance of radiators and coolers. I really love that about this case. Two things that I think could have been improved on with this case. So if we come around to the front here, and I'll demonstrate it. So if we go and install a thick boy GPU, right, it'll sit about there. Now there is room to actually fit a radiator down the bottom. The problem is there is no removable radiator bracket and no mounting holes for a radiator to go in. So I think that that is a missed opportunity for water cooling. And of course I am looking at it from a water cooling perspective because that's primarily what we like to do on the channel. So a removable radiator bracket down the bottom, I think would be perfect for this case. Now the second thing that I did notice on the rear is that there's this big panel right here, and it has radiator cutout or fan cutout, whatever you want to call it. What I think should have happened is you keep the SSD tray, remove all of this part, install an airflow guide that blocks off this part here so that the fans are not bringing in hot air from the power supply shroud. They're not being blocked by any cables or anything if it does get too crammed in there, but it's also just bringing in fresh air from the outside. And by taking this out, you can also install an option to remove this bracket and bring it all the way to the back if people want to install a thicker radiator for their water cooling, or you can bring it right forward if you want to see the fans, you know, more forward in the build. So it gives users a bit of customization there and also allows them to install thicker radiators. Because the problem that we're going to face at the moment is if I wanted to install a real beefy radiator right here, plus fans on top of it, it's going to come out to maybe here. Then if I have a real long GPU, which majority of the 4000 series are, I won't be able to install it because it's going to impede on the radiator. So by utilizing that extra space at the back, it would actually open up this case to way more possibilities. Anyway, this case is sick. I'm super excited to be building in it. So let's get things installed. Now, our 7800X 3D is such a good gaming processor, it even beat out the 14900K CPU from Intel. Now, we actually have less cores, however, it is still able to outperform. That is because it's on 5nm technology. It also has 8 cores and 16 threads with a turbo boost of 5 GHz. So it definitely makes for a better gaming CPU than productivity. Now, because we have a built-in heatsink on the motherboard, there is no need for the built-in heatsink on the NVMe. So we've actually removed that. And the good thing about this motherboard is it actually has a little latching system in there. So you don't have to worry about any little screws, it simply latches in like so. Now you can actually put a Gen 5 NVMe in this slot as well, if you have one. However, we're just going with Gen 4 for the time being. Now, for our RAM, we're actually going with 64 gigs rather than 32 gigabytes. So it's actually double what the new norm is these days. It used to be 16 gigabytes a few years back, but as games and programs start to improve, of course, we require more RAM. Okay, so the paste is pre-applied, so all I have to do is swap the bracket from Intel to AMD. That was actually pretty easy, it just clips in. Then we should be right to get this installed. So the top removes really easy. You can just pull it out of the tabs and that reveals the radiator bracket, which is also removable as well. However, I'm not going to remove it. What I'm going to do is install the cooler as it is. And I don't want to get any of this thermal paste on the desk as well. There we go. Now, once I've got 2 in, it'll hold it in place so I can get the rest in. Now for now, I'm actually going to undo this back panel. It's going to create a little more room at the back for us to work. Oh, would you look at that? I didn't even notice the badge. So we've got the 3 ones. We've got 111 out of 2024. That's pretty cool. So they're making the same number of units as the year that it was produced. That's awesome. I'm also going to remove the hard drive cages to give me a bit more room as well, because I'm not actually using hard drives. So I may as well remove them. Let's just create a bit more space inside the case for us to work with. That also means we can get more fresh air circulating. And this is what I was saying before, guys. So as I install the graphics card, you can see how much room it takes up. If I actually wanted to water cool the CPU, if I wanted a 360 and a 240 at the side, I couldn't actually fit the 240 in because there's not a lot of room there. And more specifically, the thicker 240s, because the graphics card will block it off. So by moving these fans back, I'd be able to fit in as thick a radiator as I want. However, for an AIO cooled build, it actually works really well because those fans are on hinges, so it makes it easy to remove and replace, and there's plenty of space for your full-length graphics cards. Now, you can actually move the hard drive cage from the top to the bottom if you want, and you can put the power supply either down the bottom like so, or now you have the option to move it up the top. So I'm actually thinking I might move it up the top, which gives me all of this room down the bottom for the cables to sit. Look, chicken, you are cute, but they want to see me installing the cables, so we got to move you out of the way, all right? She's so cute. Now for this case to be called the King 95 Ultra, I think that it must have good airflow. So what I want to do right now is demonstrate its airflow by throwing in some smoke through it so that you guys can see which way all of the airflow travels, how fast it travels, and how efficient this case is with the stock fans that come with it, how efficient it is at dissipating all of that smoke. Now with the current fan setup, it is a slightly positive pressure setup. We have 5 intake with the 2 rear ones being 140mm, and we have 4 exhausts, but the 3 on the radiator are obviously being held back in airflow because they have to push through a radiator as well. So as you can see there, the fans do a great job of bringing the smoke in. You can see a lot of the exhaust is actually done by the rear fan here, because obviously with the fins of the radiator being so dense, not as much air can get through. However, because these fans are good static pressure, there's still a decent amount that is making it through, but you can see how much it was slowed down by the radiator compared to the exhaust at the rear.